All right, FBA CSP. Check it out. Mr. Graph here, you there. Got a video for you about 9.2.1. We are diving all the way into Python, and specifically in the student guide for 2.1, module 9.2.1. We're talking about event handlers, and so the guide wants us to get started with some basic stuff. I would like to show you that. So if we jump this over here, here's our guide. And basically what it's telling us to do is just put together some basic functions. Okay, so create a new project. I called mine, actually, let's close this stuff real quick. I called mine 921 all parts. And now it says switch to Python workspace. Boom, let's do that. Create a new player sprite called player using sprite, any picture you like. All right, so let's go over here. Let's go to sprites. Let's go ahead and create our new sprite, drop it on line 2. I'm going to go into the editor. I am going to make a footballer. So if I scroll down a little ways, I'm going to go ahead and use this little football guy. Actually, I'm going to use one of the running ones. I'm going to use this one. I'm going to call him we'll call him football guy. All right, boom. Got that football guy created. There he is right in the middle of the screen. My sprite, I don't know what it says, my sprite 4. I don't think I have anything in here. Okay, so there we go. There he is in my assets. And there's what it looks like in block. All right, so there we go. We are rocking and rolling. The next thing I need to do is create a move the sprite with the buttons. All right. Oh, I know that's under the controller. Let's go here. Move sprite with buttons. Boom, drag and drop that in there. And let's let the game load. It might be broken. Let's open. Okay, so it's just spinning because it doesn't like something. Well, we didn't define controller move sprite, but what sprite? Well, I want it to move my sprite 1. You have to do that. And hopefully this thing saves. Saved. Play. Something appears to be going awry with my Make Code Arcade. Let's try and reload it. Play. All right. And there he is. Boom. But he moves off my screen. I bet that's one of the next things we need to do. Yep. Move with buttons, keep on screen. So we're going to go to sprites. And if you scroll down a little ways, run code, array, run, sprite overlaps. How about I just search keep? That might be even faster. Nope. On screen. There we go. Set my sprite stay in screen. Boom. So my sprite set stay in screen true. Well, it's actually my sprite 1, so it's not going to know what it is, but now it does. And we'll click play, and boom. There we go. Something I want to fix really quick right away because it's annoying. I don't want a black background. Football fields are not black. They are green. So I'm going to set the background color to green. I believe that is 7 on the hexadecimal codes. Nope, that is the wrong code. I need set. Where is it? Screen width, screen height, set background color. Scene.set. This allows you to change the background color, but we're not going to do that. And boom, there we go. Now I've got my green background. Back to the guide. At the top of your code, add some blank lines and then add the following 2 lines of code. Now, when you copy and paste this, watch what happens. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to go to the top, add a couple lines. I'm going to hit Control V. Spacing is all wrong. Actually, I'm going to leave that space there. This space we want to get rid of, and then this needs to be indented under, because this is part of the function. Okay, so we wrote a function. We defined a function, say something, for the sprite. The sprite is the parameter, and in that it tells the sprite to say hello. Then the directions tell us to run the program. And does my little sprite say hello? Well, no, he doesn't. Why does he not say hello? That's because we never called the function. Okay, so here it says add the following line of code at the bottom of your program. Well, we need to actually call our function. So let's go back over here, and our function is say something. Okay, say something. And then who's going to be saying that something? Sprite. Which sprite is it going to be? Well, it's going to be my sprite. My sprite 1. Okay, click play, and whoa, there we go. There he is. That is it for part 1, I believe. Change what they say and say something. So let me do that real quick. That's super easy. I will change it to I play football. All right. And now he says I play football. Boom. Part 2, now we are going into events. Remember, this was just basic functions. So we built a basic little game, and now we're going to add some events to it. Let's take a closer look at the event handlers by handling a controller button press, specifically a button press event. In your code above, delete say something player sprite. So delete this say something. Well, I'm not going to delete it because I actually need it in just a second. So there's a little pro tip here. You can do a little hashtag in front of it, a little pound sign. When it turns green like that, that code no longer runs. So you see how my little player's still running around. When I take this pound sign out, run it again. Now he says that. Shift 3, and now he stops. Cool. You should probably do that too instead of deleting it, because you're going to need it in just a second. So after deleting that or commenting it out, add some blank lines to the bottom of your code. From the controller drawer, drag the run code on button event block to the bottom of the workspace. You should see something that looks like this. So let's go here, controller, and we want where is it? This one? No. Run code on button. Okay, run code on button right here. It's the second one. Sorry, I was not looking at it. And there we go. So right now it is defining an on button or on event pressed function, passing nothing. It's not doing anything yet. Specifically, it is referencing controller button A on this event. This event is when that button is pressed. Okay, so what do we need to do? Well, we got to look that up, see what it says. So replace the word pass with the code that say something. That's why you don't want to delete it. Instead, we want to bring this inside here, and then I'm going to get rid of that pass. And now that say something will run when I press A. So when I press A, it now says I play football. And all these lines, I like to leave a one line buffer around my functions as I'm coding. But then when I'm finished coding and the program's ready to be ran, I collapse the functions like this. And usually the functions are a little bit larger not just 1 or 2 lines. Usually there are 5, 6, 10, 20 lines. Um, uh, I'll collapse it and then I'll get rid of all the extra lines. But I like to leave the extra lines in there just to like make it easier to see the functions and stuff. I believe that is it for part 2. Run your code. What happens when you press the A button? Congratulations, you wrote your first event handler in Python. Good job. And next, let's go to part 3. Now we're going to talk about sprite collisions. Sprite collisions are handled as functions as well. Remember, functions are basically chunks of code that run and are used when they are called. So let's check that out and see what we are working with. At the bottom of your Python code, add code that will create a food sprite using any picture you like. You can call this sprite anything you wish as well. So I'm going to go over here. Told us to create a new sprite. So sprites, set sprite image 2. Well, I don't want it to be my sprite because I called this one my sprite 1. I'm going to call this one my sprite 2. I'm going to go into the gallery and I'm going to get the football, which is right here. Boom, just get this one. There's my football. I did not name it, so I need to name it. Football. Done. Now it's collapsed and condensed into one line, and it is assigned to this variable, which is really, really important. And now you'll see it render right there in the middle. It's tiny. Place the food sprite at a random location on the screen. Great, that's easy. I just go to sprites, set my sprite position. Random locations are rand int, random integers. And if you remember, our numbers from previous work are 10 and 150 for our x, and then rand int, totally misspelled that, rand int, random integer, that will be 10 to 120. You don't need that space in there, but I like to put it, and I gotta get rid of that 0. Okay. Nope, not my sprite. There is no my sprite. There's my sprite 1 and my sprite 2. I want my sprite 2's location to be random somewhere on the screen. There it is. 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 Okay, you see it moving all around. Boom. That is great. Place the food in random locations. From the sprite drawer, drag the run code on sprite of kind overlaps block. Okay. Now we need to add an overlap condition. Sprites. Come down to where it says overlaps. Run code on sprite of kind overlaps other kind. Bingo, bango, bongo. Check it out. It's another function. Okay, these are handled as functions. So on overlap sprite, other sprite. Well, I didn't do something up here. This is a sprite kind player. That's wrong, Mr. Graph. It needs to be sprite kind food. Because down here, this is going to be an overlap of sprite kind player and sprite kind food. Make sure you change that. So this football, the second sprite should be food. The first sprite should be player. Remember, those are classes inside of already built inside of MakeCode Arcade. The game engine already understands what those classes are, and allows you to do things like scoring and health and stuff automatically without having to write code for that specifically. It's like it's built in the background for you. So now we have to figure out what to build in this overlap. So from there, block to the bottom of your code. Right now, the event handler is for sprite kind player, so we need to change that to sprite kind food. Now the event will handle when the football player overlaps the football. Delete pass from the function and make sure that there's at least one blank in there. From the info drawer, we're going to add a change score. So it wants us to delete pass. Okay, if you're over here, you need to be over here. You need to have that indent inside the function. I'm going to go to info, and I'm going to find change score by 1. But I don't want it to be changed score by 1 because this is football and you score touchdowns, and touchdowns are worth 6 points. So I'm going to change my score to be every time my football player gets a ball, he's going to get 6 points, or they are going to get 6 points. Next thing it wants us to do, change score. Yep. Under that line, add code to change the position of the food sprite, the football, to a new random location. Great, I can do that. Remember that in the event handle function, the food sprite involved in the event is referred to as other sprite. That's really important. We did that in block-based coding. Now we're doing it in text-based coding. It's really, really important. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Inside of this overlap function, I need to make sure that I am applying the points and then sending it to a random location, right? Isn't that what it said? To a new random location. Boom, right there. All right. So let's apply the points. That is going to be inside of info. Wait, I thought I already did that. I already did the points. Good heavens. Let's do the random location. Well, I already did a random location here. So basically all I need to do is send this other sprite, So send other sprite dot set position, and I want it to be this again. Control C. And then we'll Control V this in here. Boom. All right, let's check it out. My little football player running around. There's the football. 6 points. The ball went somewhere new. Another 6. And this will likely go on forever until my internet crashes or something. Play your game. Can you pick up the food sprites? Yes, of course. A collecting game isn't much fun unless there is an enemy to chase you. Add an enemy sprite. This is going to be the last thing we're going to do because I'm going to leave you to do this one. So, boom. Add an enemy sprite to your game. Have it start in a random location and follow your player sprite at half speed. Ooh, all right. So let's add another line here. Sprites. Set my sprite. I went up one line. There we go. I want it to be my sprite 3. Let's go into here. I'm going to go to gallery. I'm going to get football player. But this guy is the same color, right? Well, he's the same color as my player, but he's supposed to be on the enemy team. Well, what do? Change the color. Let's make him blue team. So we'll make it blue versus red. All right, there we go. And bingo. And my player is facing the same way as that player, but usually players are opposing, right? They're usually going head to head. So all I have to do is click this button. Now he is rotated. I named it enemy player. I'm going to click done. Check it out. Enemy player is now rendered there right in the middle of the screen. Cool, cool. I need to send him to a random position. And actually, I just realized I need to send my other sprite to a random position as well. So let's just do set my sprite position. I'm going to basically choose this. I'm going to paste in that random int again for my sprite 3. And then I'm going to come up here wherever I define my sprite 1. I'm going to add that as well. Let's do set my position. It's just easier to do that. Where did I do it? Right here. There we go. And then we'll paste this in here. It's underlined because I don't have my sprite. I have my sprite 1. Now, players show up in random positions, but it doesn't make a lot of sense. And that's because the players were opposite of each other, not facing each other. So what I need to do is I'm going to have my red player render somewhere over here and my blue player render somewhere over here. So the X random int for X, which is going to be left to right, I want to limit that range from like 10. Let's do like 10 to 20. And then we'll do 100 to 120. And let's see how that renders. Did I do that right or wrong? Oh, I did that wrong. Let me fix that real quick. Z, Control Z. Okay, so why did I do that wrong? Did I think about those numbers incorrectly? Maybe I did. Let's try this one, random int. So 10 to 20. Let's render that. Okay, so the red one's in the right place. The blue one is not. So let's send him to 100 and 120. I think that's too much. But you get the idea. So I'm not going to mess with that too much because I just want to get through this. Okay, so add an enemy sprite to your game using any picture you like. Have it start in a random location and follow your player sprite at half speed. Here's one thing that Mr. Graph's going to purposely leave out. You have to figure out how to do half speed. Okay, so go look for that. Add an overlap event handler for when the enemy collides with the player. When it does, we need to add 2 things. We're going to add the player loses a life, and both the player and the enemy move to random locations on the screen again. All right, cool. So let's go ahead and do that real quick, and we will be finished with this super long how-to video. Remember, collisions are handled as functions. So we're going to go to sprites, and then we're going to go to overlaps. Here we go. This is overlap 2. And that is correct because here's overlap 1. Overlap 2 is going to handle enemy. Oh, but Mr. Graph did not define enemy player as an enemy. So let's change that. There we go. Now, my sprite 3 is classified as an enemy. And therefore, this collision is going to handle enemy versus player. What do I need to have? I need it to be player loses a life and both go to random positions. Easy peasy. Go to info. Player life. Change player life by -1. Boom. There's the first part. Second part is I need to move them both to random positions. That also is easy. Whatever code I have here that actually works. Mr. Graphs is not working very well, but that's okay. Boom, there we go. Send in my sprite 3 to a random position. And then my sprite 1 to copy this code. Bingo, bango, bongo. Let's move this down here, and then we'll give it a test. All right. Run it. All right, so there's my football player down there. There we go. Lost a life. Got some points. All right. Now, what Mr. Graph is going to show you before the end is what it's like when you have the enemy sprite follow. So I'm going to search follow and set my enemy follow my sprite. So let's go. I'm going to drop this under the enemy. And my enemy.follow, well, it's actually going to be following my sprite 1. And it's not my enemy, it's my sprite 2 that's following them. Sprite 2. So my sprite 2 follow my sprite 1. Oh, just kidding. It's my sprite 3. Play. No, I gotta move it down here. Play. So now he chases me, and it's really hard. So you have to make him slower, and then a good game would make it so that there's a way to defeat them. Okay, so that's all for you. That's all for you to figure out. The point of this lesson is complete. You are now good to go on parts 1, 2, and 3. So both the player and enemy move to random locations. Everything else we did before this. I want you to work on part 4. If you have questions, it's short. If you have questions, please reach out. I'm always happy to help. And then your quiz, the quiz that's here is actually in Canvas, and that's where you'll complete it and get your grade. And this is just the rubric that's provided for you to understand where points come from, when and if we grade your program here. What's more important is that you spend time with it and you work on coding. That is it for this one. A super long tutorial, but I hope it helps. I like to spend time doing this and give you all the instruction you need and you ask for. Because if you ask for it, I'm going to give it to you. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy this, and I hope you find something insightful. As always, Mr. Graff saying, stay positive out there, coders.